Welcome to Success Your Own Way, a podcast about how real people define and redefine success throughout their careers. Hosted by Tina and Yifat Rogers, this show features candid conversations with guests who've made intentional choices, navigated change, and built lives aligned to their values. Their guests share their stories as well as strategies and tactics that help them along the way. Tina's a certified coach and a former corporate leader who supports professionals in making confident, values-driven decisions. Yifat is a consultant with a background in food science and engineering, helping people solve complex problems with a practical, no-nonsense approach. Each episode offers inspiration and actionable insights for anyone rethinking what success looks like in their life and how to get there.
Welcome to Success Your Own Way. We are very excited today to have Amy Joseph. I will turn it over to Tina to introduce Amy and we'll get going.
Awesome. I've been really looking forward to this episode with Amy. She's a high-impact product management executive with 18 plus years of experience leading multi-billion-dollar portfolios at the intersection of AI, healthcare, and finance. She's a specialist at scaling complex digital ecosystems and is known for bridging the gap between clinical, commercial, and technical strategies to deliver user-centered innovation. From architecting AI-driven SaaS platforms to reimagining consumer health experiences, Amy's leadership is defined by a member-obsessed philosophy and a relentless drive for operational excellence. She excels at building high-performing teams that transform technical potential into measurable business outcomes, consistently improving care, access, and streamlining global digital workflows. And I've had the pleasure of working with Amy for the last 2 years, and I'm really excited to have you on the show today, Amy. Welcome.
Yifat and Tina, thank you for having me.
We'd love to hear a little bit of your story in your own words. Amy, I gave a little bit of an introduction in terms of where you've been and kind of what your passion is, but tell us your story. How did you get to where you are today?
Absolutely, love to. So I guess going back in time, I kind of started out trying to figure out what I wanted my career to be. I'm a very mission kind of focused individual. I like to have a reason why for the work that I do, for the value that I'm adding to society, to the community, kind of to my own family and household. And I guess as I started looking at options, I was like, okay, what is a way that I can actually support someone going through some sort of human experience that creates purpose for me as well? So I'm not just doing work, but I kind of get to do work that matters. And that was kind of my philosophy way back in time. So I kind of started out doing a little bit of everything, honestly. So for several years, I was teaching underprivileged kids. I taught in college for a bit. I was a tear sheet clerk at a press association. I did a little bit of everything. And what I was trying to find was that special niche and kind of something where I could directly help support big ideas and changing things, transforming things that kind of did matter. So switched into product management, and that was going back to a health and wellness company that was building kind of custom software. While I was doing that, I was trying to figure out that why. And I'll have to say a big moment in time for me was seeing my grandmother experience a very strange kind of a rare disease that she had to battle with and figure out, okay, how do I get the care I need? How do I move forward? How do I get connected to the right physician at the right time? And I just saw there was this really monolithic mess to get her what she actually needed, and very family oriented. So that was very personal for me, and go, okay, that's something that I actually can directly help in. So over the years, I kind of went and got my grad degree and was evolving, but I continued with this. Okay, how do I simplify things for people who are going through or navigating life? And that's kind of how I started out and evolved over time to the direct care, supporting people through physician services. And then as I was doing that, I started seeing, oh my goodness, these are massive bills coming to said grandmothers, like the people who do matter in our lives. And it's catastrophic to their retirement planning, to what they're experiencing. So that was my switch. I think about 3 years ago, I did switch over to Allianz Life. I've been there kind of supporting, but it's really because of that missional focus. I really like to have that story to create something that's important for me to directly contribute to.
I love that. That's such an awesome story. I think these personal stories, especially in healthcare, are really starting to come to the surface and can drive us in the direction that we want to go with our careers. And also just because it's so personal, healthcare, there's nothing more personal than that.
You mentioned that at some point you thought that you need to find your niche. Was there a moment? Or was it a process? Kind of what was the thought of, hey, I need to find that niche? How did you get to that moment of retrospection, kind of getting off we heard autopilot? I know I'm putting words in your mouth, but what was the process or the moment where you kind of figured out, no, I want to find my niche?
This is probably a strange connection, but I don't know if either of you have seen His Girl Friday. It's like a 1940s film with Cary Grant. Can't remember the rest of the stars, honestly, but it was one of my favorite films, I would say, in my like late teenage years. It's very witty, and it has this back and forth to it that's lovely. But I remember there was a moment in that film. They're like investigative reporters, and they're trying to get to the scoop of these things that are happening around them while, battling over interpersonal relationships and all this stuff. So it's just a fun film. And in that film, there's a moment where this man is on trial, and he's on trial for murder. And the woman is trying to figure out, the investigative reporter is trying to figure out, okay, what spurned this? And she made this comment: production for use. You saw the gun was created for this purpose. So you grabbed the gun and you used it for that purpose. So I remember kind of that thought in the back of my head. There's a, abstract or distant idea that we aren't kind of created to, or designed rather, to perform certain things, but you're only this thing. And I remember that sticking in the back of my head, and going through school kind of going, no, there has to be more to this than just the standard, like corporate, you go, you do the job, you leave. So I think as I was kind of watching all these human stories, it just started to resonate a bit more. We're not production for use. We're created for a lot more, or designed for a lot more than just this, like, this is the exact thing I can be and do. So I think that kind of started drawing out, tabula rasa. We're somewhat of a blank slate, right? And we have to find that thing that really becomes meaningful for us to actually create that change. So I don't know. I probably am a slight oddity. I always just had this like integral, I want to do something that does mean and matter more. I am a believer. Like I do believe in God, and that's always a very critical stabilizer. But there's more than just, I can do this thing, so I should do it. If you have a story, it becomes something that you can really get passionate about and get excited about as you're doing the work, and it's less that like repetitive production grind. So that's a little, I think that's a little bit of that mindset, but I don't know if I answered your question exactly directly.
You did. It was, I love the story. It's like the little things that sometimes get stuck, that even if in the moment, even in the moment, you're like, there is something here, but then it comes to life and it makes sense, and sometimes even in different ways. As we kind of, so yes, definitely answered my question, and I'm gonna check out the movie and see the production piece of it. So
yeah. What was rattling around in my head as you were speaking, Amy, was kind of the difference between being a human being and a human doing. And often with my clients, we start with doing, like, oh, I'm so busy, I'm doing. And then ultimately the goal is to get to being. And how are you being in life? Shifting gears just a little bit, because the namesake of this podcast is all about success. And we love asking our guests, how do you define success for yourself today? And also, how has it changed, if at all, over the course of your life?
Great question. I guess going back in time, I was probably a lot more competitive or ambitious, or Like I want to scale, right? So everything was about scale. Want to do harder things, faster things, better things, whatever it is. So the big, hairy, scary goals, the BHAGs of the world, I was always like really a strong appetite for challenge, I would say, from a growth stance. At this point, and with my family and kind of having young kids, it's definitely more of a yes, I love challenging myself and growing, but balance is honestly becoming more and more important to me than ever, just so that I can be a part of their life, see them growing, see them evolving, as I kind of look to the future and look to their success as well. So now I'd probably say my success isn't as much like, do I get the hardest project? I love that, right? That's fun for me. But it's also, can I actually deliver on my commitments to my home, to my life, to my surrounding community, and actually do something that does matter in that broader scheme? So I think it's that balance of walking side by side with work being a critical component of that interaction that I have with society, but it's not like the only thing, the only driver that does get that result that I'm looking for myself.
Yeah. So true. That, I mean, I think that has been very thematic. And I think especially with busy parents and professional women with small kids, as you mentioned, finding that balance can be super, super challenging. And if you don't mind, I'm going to ask a follow on, which is, how do you do it? Are there frameworks that you use, or what are some ways that you kind of, yeah, frameworks or decision making that you use to make sure that you do have that balance in your life?
First off, I don't think there is you did it, yay, success, gold star. It's almost like every day there's a new thing that you have to like balance out and include in. So honestly, I would say just the flexibility to recognize when things are working well or they're not working well, and trying to steer and trying to adjust more real time. For me, that flexibility matters a lot, because you do have to drop everything and do this one thing. Sometimes you do have to shift and follow that pace. So for me, I think making sure you have the ability to have that flexibility when it truly matters, making sure you have the relationships that set you up for success when that moment occurs, and you need that flexibility. But also a really key point is you can't do it by yourself, I don't think. You have to figure out what that support system is and what it looks like for you, so you can adequately accommodate as these things shift, because you can't be everywhere at all times to everyone. You can't be at all the lunches. You can't. So that balancing act, I feel like, is sometimes you're adding plates to the spinning ones that you already have. And sometimes you need to put the plates down and have a moment to yourself to kind of calm it down and slow things down and recognize it's not all on you. So to me, that community and support system is the only way that it can work for all of these moving pieces you have in your world.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of support system and relationships, we hear sometimes about mentors, about sponsors. Have you had mentors and or sponsors kind of in your corner? Who were they? How did you seek those relationships? What are some of the benefits that you're seeing?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I guess if you think about that trajectory that I had people on airplanes that I sat beside that decided they were going to pour into me, random person they'd never met before, and give me wisdom and insight and like practical advice that I still use today. So if you think about that history, that trajectory of finding that purpose, finding that why, I had a gentleman that encouraged me on an airplane to go get my grad degree when I was like, 4 or 5 years into my career, going, why would I want to do that? Right. I'm oblivious. And he just gave enough context and enough insight. It sparked something in me. And I went and did that thing, and it opened up so many doors. So I think it's that, like, are you listening when somebody with wisdom, with guidance, with kind of an understanding, not because of confidence, but because of actual, I've done it before, that you stop and you take that moment to kind of listen and learn and evolve yourself, you do find so many great opportunities to kind of grow and become that better person, better individual, able to do the things that you're kind of called to in your life. So, my church has a variety of people, my active social community does, but probably the one person that I would say, I would probably group it into two, actually. One is just my parents, honestly. I watched my parents have the grit and the drive and the determination to do things time and time again, to take care of us and to pour into us and to show us like what love is and what relationship is. So they are always going to be on that list for me of people that just did something that made me realize I could be better and I could grow and kind of create this meaning. And then someone named Robin Barron, she was my manager at Deloitte many years ago. And Robin was just somebody that truly cared about the people on her team. So I could talk to her about any topic. She would be warm and guiding, but also firm and how to have this tact, which it's uncommon, right? In the management world we live in. She deeply cared enough. I would come to Oklahoma. I would be out of town. I would come to Oklahoma and she'd be like, stay with me. Who does that, right? So it was just this deep intrinsic, I care about you, I care about your success, I care about your development. And we were working so many hours. She could have easily just said, nope, that's it, you guys are on your own, I'm checking out. She did not. And she unfortunately ended up passing away from cancer like a couple of years after I was working with her. But she had poured so much into me that I was like, I'm going to be the best manager I can. I'm going to teach people, I'm going to grow people, and I'm going to help them develop. So that became a really important passion of mine, seeing her do what she did and just seeing the impact that she made on our lives. So I will always have that like special moment in my heart, just some of the things she told me, some of the like calming moments that she put into us when things were chaotic and like we're at 2 a.m. doing calls every week and just craziness that some of that world does create sometimes. So it was a shelter in the storm, if you will. And I took note of that. So I would say those two groups of folks, and I could probably name a zillion others.
I love hearing stories like that. That is amazing. And I think it's a reminder of how important it is to show up as a leader for our teams and for our peers and even our leaders, our managers, and demonstrating what strong leadership looks like. And just frankly, the lasting impression that Robin made on you, I think is just a total testament to her. And I'm so sorry that she passed. It's tough.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know you have passion for product management. In fact, you are going to be speaking very soon about product management. What do you want our listeners to know about product management as a capability, as a function, and why is it an area of interest and passion for you?
Love it. So I guess for product management, it's that big ideas that stick. Like what can create a better future, a better tomorrow for the folks that are interacting with this service, with this solution, with this capability that you're trying to create. So for me, product management is a way to take theoretical, abstract ideas and translate them into something that actually can be in someone's hand, kind of making that simplicity of life available to them. I like to think about, the complexities of the day to day. You were talking, Tina, about moms and just how do you balance things? You can't, right? There's too many things. There's too many messages, too many to-dos. So I believe if you need a service, the simpler you can create that, the simplicity that you can create in that service is key to usability, right? We have too many options and too many things we have to remember. So the general gist for me is if you can simplify someone's life and take it from being, 200 thinking steps to get to that to 4 or 5, that becomes palatable and it's kind of like they won't know any better because you've just done that thing. So I love the power of using technology, using services, using the way we do something in an innovative or kind of different way to make that simplicity possible and help somebody actually get to those goals. So yeah, I'm fortunate enough to ever so often get to speak on product management and capabilities and growth. But the sheer gist is, and over time, getting to that point where you can actually do things at scale and do things in a way it actually makes that life better on the other side. It's story translation and idea into an actual substantial thing. So I think it's super fun, kind of the work that I'm in. It takes you from I'm just figuring out what the problem is to actually I'm delivering on the problem and I'm making something better overall. So if someone's listening and you're like, okay, how would I do this? How would I grow into this? Trying to get into things like business analysis or technical analysis, trying to understand what are these things, like how does this technology work within these organizations. It helps bring you into product ownership, and once you get into product ownership, it's how do I actually stitch together this future. You start getting into deeper levels of how do I get to that destination that I'd really like to, and it's fun if you enjoy that type of work.
Yeah, it's problem solving.
That's my language.
I know.
That's where I
was
am.
seeing, I was watching Yifat nod as you were talking. A different kind of product on her end, but definitely similar concepts.
Yes.
And
We're getting towards the end of our time, but we like to ask our guests what are you grateful for? When you think about those, those moments of gratitude, who and what comes up for you, Amy?
I'll definitely say just my relationship with God, so I can have this like steady state, a steady place to keep all the plates spinning in the right spots and not just the peace and the satisfaction of that, but more broadly as well, just the family figures that have poured into me. Family is so crucial. I watched my great grandfather day in, day out do things for his family and just show up and love. And I think that like form something in you as a child that you're watching these people surrounding when you have that type of a family and you can see them doing things that it doesn't actually matter what you're doing or what they're doing. It matters that you're doing it with that kind of like love and safety and support, and in a way that's diligent and gritty and determined even when it's awful, but you're doing it, you're there. So I think that just like ability to show up and be confident and try, and it doesn't matter if you win or fail or have to do it 50 times. That is actually something I am truly grateful for, is seeing that in action and being able to apply that when challenges happen in our life. So probably those two things for sure would just stand out to me. And then I think just the managers and the people who have said, I trust this person, I trust Amy to come in and kind of do these things. Over time, there have been, managers that have just been consistent and have been there and hunted me down when I'm doing completely different things and pulled me into their world because of that trust. So I'm certainly grateful for the confidence that people have put in me to grow over time into where I am today. And just the opportunity to pour into others. I think at this point in time, mentoring other people and pouring into them is becoming way more interesting for me than before I would like to, but I was still learning and I was still growing, and I still am. But that subtle shift to have people come to me to ask for clarity or ideas or direction, it's a lovely moment to be in, I think. So that would be the last thing I would say. It's just the confidence now other people are having in me to do the work I'm doing, but also to learn from and evolve from the things that I have been able and fortunate enough to participate in.
Yeah. I noticed Yifat said that she would talk to her mentor / mentee. Isn't that interesting that we've evolved to the point now where we can both learn from and pour into, as you say, Amy, into other people. I think that's a great place to be in life.
We like to leave our listeners with some tips or advice for those in early, late, mid-career that are working on achieving their own definition of success. Anything you can share with us, with them?
I would say just don't think you're done. You're not final. It's not finished. This version of you, whatever version that you're looking at today, could be completely different tomorrow. So if you're in a spot where, let's say you're feeling like you're not where you want to be, you want to keep evolving, that's great. Follow that, right? Follow that voice. If you're happy and you're content, sometimes the biggest opportunities come when things are feeling that way. Don't think you're done. It's not permanent. We all get to change and continually evolve to become that thing that is that best version of ourselves. So I would just say, take the risk, do the hard things, and you'll find you are starting to get to this place of, okay, it's not because of me, it's almost in spite of me. I'm just going to go with the direction that I'm feeling. And you get to do some really cool things, I believe, if you open yourself up that way. So that would be my tip or recommendation. Even if it looks scary and hard, sometimes those are the biggest and loveliest opportunities, but they do require a stretch, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
Amy, thank you so much for being our guest today. We really appreciated you joining us and sharing your wisdom and your definition of success and how you've made your way through the world. Yifat, thank you as always for being a great co-host with me today. And for all you listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Stay tuned for future episodes and please like, subscribe, and share this with all your friends. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Success Your Own Way. We hope you found this episode inspiring and took away actionable insights. Please tune in for our next episode, and if you know someone who is rethinking what success looks like in their life, please share this episode with them.